Mounts Bay is a large, sweeping bay on the English Channel coast of Cornwall, United Kingdom, stretching from the Lizard Point to Gwennap Head. In the north of the bay, near Marazion, is St. Michael's Mound, the origin of name of the bay, presenting a benign aspect to summer visitors of a large, scenic, natural harbour. In an onshore winter gale it presents a great danger to shipping as a maritime trap, especially in the days of sailing ships with an excess of 150 known wrecks in the 19th century. The eastern side of the bay centered around Marazion and St. Michael's Mound was designated as a marine conservation zone in January 2016. Geography and geology. Mounts Bay is the biggest bay in Cornwall. Its half-moon shape is similar to that of Donegal Bay in Ireland and Cardigan Bay in Wales, although, unlike the aforementioned bays, Mounts Bay is relatively sheltered from the prevailing Atlantic westerlies. It is, however, a danger to shipping during onshore southerly and southeasterly gales. The coast is approximately 42 miles from Lizard Point to Gwennap Head. Heading north and west from Lizard Point, the serpentine and hornblende schist cliffs reach a maximum height of 71 meters at Velon Head and are only broken by small streams and coves such as, at Pinance, Gewgrade and Mullion Cove. After Gunwallow Fishing Cove, the cliffs have the soft look of Devonian Moneg formations of Greywacke and Melange, with erosion a problem either side of the naturally dammed rear of Lowpool. West of Porthleven there are high Devonian slate and granite cliffs to Rinsey Head, after which the cliffs are topped by Pleistocene periglacial head, and have eroded to form sandy beaches such as those at Pra Sands and Kennegy. These beaches are in deficit and the cliff line is retreating, with the exception of the harder Devonian dolerite and gabbro of Cudden Point. The low, eroding cliffs and beaches continue to Mousehole. This part of the bay is the most populated, with the towns of Penzance and Marazion and the villages of Newlyn and Mousehole. Beyond Mousehole the granite cliffs rise to 60 meters, and are broken by small streams such as Hurlamorna Cove and Penber. There are small sand dune systems at Church Cove and Poldu Cove, Porthleven Sands, Pra Sands, and from Marazion to East and Green, Penzance. The former sand dunes of the Western Green are now covered by Penzance Promenade. All, but Marazion to Penzance, are examples of bay dune systems which developed where there is a limited supply of sand trapped within the shelter of two rocky headlands. Church and Poldu Coves are SSSI and also have associated climbing dunes which occur when sand is blown inland of the main dune system. Evidence of higher sea levels in the past can be seen at Marazion, where the town is built on a raised beach. A second example is the road between Newlyn and Mousehole. Sea levels rise and fall as the ice sheets advance and retreat, and raised beaches now mark the interglacial periods when sea levels were higher. Either side of Penzance, on the beaches at Ponsondain and Wherrytown, evidence of a submerged forest can be seen at low tide in the form of several fossilized tree trunks. Post-Ice Age, offshore surveys have found submerged erosional plains and valleys containing deposits of peat, sand and gravel. The deposits indicate cyclical changes from wetland to coastal forest to brackish. Conditions have been occurring over the past 12,000 years as sea levels rose. With the melting of ice sheets and glaciers after the last ice age, sea levels reached the present levels about 6,000 years ago during what is known as the Flandrian marine transgression. Either side of Penzance, on the beaches at Ponsondain and Wherrytown, evidence of a submerged forest can be seen at low tide in the form of several partially fossilized tree trunks. Divers and trawlers also find submerged tree trunks across Mounts Bay, and the forest may have covered a coastal plain 2 to 5 kilometers further south and today. The samples of peat and wood around Penzance have been radiocarbon dated and indicate that the forest was growing from at least 6,000 to around 4,000 years ago, when rising sea levels finally killed the trees. Artifacts dating from the Mesolithic have been found indicating some occupation contemporary with the forest. Marshes formed and were overlain by sand, gravel and by sand dunes which formed natural barriers to the sea. Storms sometimes destroyed the barriers, depositing sand and gravel over peat beds in Marazion Marsh, and in the foundations of many buildings in Wherry Town on Long Rock. The remains of these natural barriers can still be seen at Eastern Green and the dunes to the seaward of Marazion Marsh. The submerged forest in the intertidal area between Wherry Town and Long Rock is of national importance and is a Cornwall geology site. At Lowpool, a barrier dammed the rear of the River Cober, causing the formation of Cornwall's largest lake. Very little of the low bar shingle is locally derived, and the deposits have been tentatively dated as Eocene. The composition of the bar deposits are chalk flint 86%, quartz 9%, grit 2.6%, green suture 2% and serpentine 0.5%. The shingle coming from drowned terrace of the former river that flowed down the English Channel. The nearest onshore source is 120 miles away in East Devon. Longshore drift is unlikely to have caused the formation because the bar is situated between two headlands, but it plays an important part in the maintenance of the bar, with a strong current flowing to the southeast from Porthleven to Gunwallow, depositing shingle along the bar. The ebb flow is not a simple reverse flow and is not strong enough to remove all the deposits. Marine Conservation Zone. The Mounts Bay Marine Conservation Zone was designated on the 29th of January 2016 and covers an area of Mounts Bay south of the coast from Long Rock to Cutton Point. The 12 square kilometers site includes the sea around St. Michael's Mount and tidal reefs such as the Grebe near Perinathno and the Long Rock. The MCZ protects habitats ranging from exposed high-energy rock on the coast to sand and muddy sand on the sea floor. The seagrass beds, Zostera marina, mainly grow in the subtidal zone and are important as a nursery area for fish and shellfish, as well as a feeding area for birds. Damage from the anchors and chains from moored boats can damage the beds. Animals within the zone include stalked jellyfish such as Lucerne Areopsis campanulata and Lucerne Areopsis crux militensis, and a fish, the giant goby. History. Pirate attacks. In August 1625, Turks took out of the church of Munajiska in Mounts Bay about 60 men, women and children and carried them away captives. Slavery in the Ottoman Empire and the Barbary slave trade was fundamental to its economy. The Barbary pirates were then raiding Europe and they took more than 1 million Europeans off to the slave markets of Tripoli and elsewhere. 1755 Tsunami. On the 1st of November 1755, the Lisbon earthquake caused a tsunami to strike the Cornish coast at around 1400. At Mounts Bay the sea rose 10 feet at great speed and ebbed at the same rate. Little damage was recorded. It was possibly this tsunami that removed Porthleven, one of the 5 ports of St. Michael's Mount, but not the oldest, which was Marazion. Settlements. There are several coastal towns and villages dotted around Mounts Bay, of which the largest is Penzance. To the west are Newlyn, Paul, Mousehole and Lamorna, and to the east are Marazion, Perinathno, Prasands, Porthleven and Mullion. The bay also incorporates many beaches, coves and features including Prussia Cove, Low Pool, Church Cove, Poldu Cove and Irons Cove. In the churchyard wall of the Church of St. Paul Aurelian in Paul is the 1860 monument to Dolly Pentreath, according to tradition the last native speaker of the Cornish language. Mounts Bay gives its name to a local secondary school, which is located in Heemore and serves Penzance and the surrounding countryside. Mounts Bay School and Community Sports College is one of Penzance's comprehensive schools. RFA Mounts Bay, commissioned by the Royal Fleet Auxiliary in 2006, RFA Mounts Bay is the latest design landing ship dock, the Bay class used by the Royal Navy. Mounts Bay has good affiliations with the Sea Cadet Unit TS Zephyr in Caterham, Surrey.